Procrastination and laziness are issues that affect us all from time to time, whether we're at work or at home doing chores around the house. The key to getting yourself motivated and working through procrastination and laziness is to have a plan of action ready to go when you feel these emotions coming on, instead of letting them get the best of you. Try some of these tips on overcoming laziness and procrastination in your daily life, whether it's work-related or just the task of cleaning up your room. 1. Accept that failure happens. Everyone procrastinates sometimes, even successful people. The difference is that successful people don't let it become a way of life. What they do instead is accept that failure happens, embrace it as part of their process, then try again until they succeed. They don't beat themselves up over their failures, they chalk them up to experience and move on, never giving up until they reach their goal. To overcome laziness and procrastination, we need to accept that failure happens too, but not be beaten by it. When you fail, dust yourself off and keep going. Beating yourself up will only make things worse. Every time you fall, get back up and learn from your mistakes along the way. That's what successful people do, and if anyone knows about success, it's them. You can't control everything in your life, but you can control how you respond to whatever happens to come your way, by learning from it. Write down 10 lessons from past attempts at meeting a goal or task that were complete failures. 2. Don't procrastinate, outline. One of my biggest struggles is procrastination. I have a hard time getting started on things because I keep overthinking and overplanning, which in turn leads to me having to do a lot of research, rethinking, replanning, and so on. The simplest way I've found to overcome procrastination is to start with an outline. As soon as you get your first draft down, no matter how rough it is or if it's even relevant to what you wanted your final product to be, once that piece of paper is done, you can start brainstorming how you want your final piece to look. If you create an outline before beginning to write, you don't let yourself wander off topic, which leads to procrastination because one thing will lead to another, and eventually leads back around again without ever creating a tangible product from all those steps. This method works especially well if there are parts of whatever project you're working on that are already decided, then work towards drafting out what those sections will entail before writing about them. Whether it's outlining by hand or typing up short bullet points is up to you. I like bullet points personally, but either way takes away any thinking about what next, since everything has already been laid out for you beforehand. 3. Batch similar tasks. While it may seem easier to spread out similar tasks like emails, phone calls, and meetings throughout your day, they can really add up. Try batching them together, either on certain days or specific times of day, so you have fewer decisions to make throughout your day. This can not only save you time but also reduce mental clutter. Here's a more detailed explanation of how to batch similar tasks together. In other words, learning to ask yourself good questions is one of the most important, if not the most important, tool in your success arsenal. It's just too bad we don't talk about it much these days. At least we didn't. Until now. What if I told you that an entire library filled with never-before-seen hand-picked questions from some of history's greatest philosophers, inventors, and innovators exists in a book? And that it sits within arm's reach from wherever you are right now? And best yet, what if I told you there were almost 400 different questions, plenty enough for endless hours worth of thought-provoking discussions? 4. Set deadlines on tasks. If you have a lot of work to do, take advantage of small deadlines. After all, finishing one thing means you can put an X on your task list and move on to something else. Setting small goals will give you that sense of progress without overwhelming yourself with too much at once. To stay motivated, push yourself to beat a deadline or knock out 2 or 3 things before taking a break. When it comes time to come back after your break, start again by tackling 2 or 3 more items from your list, and so on until everything is complete. While there are many ways to combat laziness and procrastination, setting deadlines can be one of your best weapons against falling prey to bad habits. 5. Reward yourself. Rewarding yourself with a small burst of dopamine is a great way to motivate yourself in your laziest moments. The key here is to keep it small. Don't give yourself an all-you-can-eat ice cream sundae just because you opened your email. Instead, try giving yourself 1 minute on Pinterest, or watching your favorite music video on YouTube. Even letting yourself hit refresh on Twitter for a few minutes can help get you into gear when you feel lazy or procrastinating. When combined with steps 1 to 9 below, short bouts of reward can go a long way toward getting yourself back on track. Just don't overdo it. Too much stimulus at once could overwhelm you. 30 days, 90 days, 6 months. One thing that works well for me, and most other people, is starting every project by taking about 30 days to start working hard and seeing how I'm feeling about where I'm at after those 30 days have passed. 6. Organize your workspace. When it comes to beating laziness, one of the best things you can do is set up a workspace that makes it easy to get started. How you do that will depend on what you're working on, but setting up a space with all your tools available is usually helpful. Additionally, make sure your desk is clean, at least in terms of clutter, so you aren't distracted by other things when you should be getting work done. If that doesn't work, consider using Pomodoro timers if tasks are too big. It can help keep yourself focused on the task at hand. Even if doing each task for 25 minutes straight isn't exactly sustainable over time, focusing like that can certainly help you start something new. And starting is usually where procrastination begins. So even if you don't finish, at least you've made progress. 7. Understand how you learn. Not everyone learns in a linear fashion. So, you can't expect to learn just by listening to lectures, reading books, or even talking to people. To figure out what your preferred method of learning is, try these. 1. Download an app like Rescue Time to track how you spend your time on different tasks over a few days. 2. Spend 5 minutes doing whatever it is that you do in your downtime, shopping online, checking social media, etc. 3. Write down all of your thoughts during that time period. 4. Review what you wrote down. What did you think about it? Did it remind you of something else? What was the pattern you saw develop over those hours? How could that pattern be applied to other areas of life where productivity is essential? For example, if Facebook kept popping up in your mind as a distraction, maybe there are some specific things within Facebook itself that keep distracting you, the layout of certain pages, certain notifications, etc. What would happen if you changed those things to make them less disruptive towards getting work done? Strategic reset is basically figuring out ways to either change your environment so it supports more productivity or changes yourself, your mindset/attitude, so that it's easier for you to remain productive when working. 8. Dealing with people who challenge you. But remember, no one likes being challenged, even when you're totally right. If you come across as opinionated or bossy, your co-workers will be more likely to push back on your ideas. So it's crucial that you learn how to communicate with people who have opposing viewpoints, however difficult it might be. Here are 3 techniques that can help. Steer clear of inflammatory language like "you always" or "you never" in order to prevent an argument from starting. Instead, focus on behavioral observations. Every time we discuss XYZ topic, you seem skeptical, rather than personal assessments. You're often skeptical of XYZ idea. This way both parties' egos stay intact since no one is getting called out directly. And since no one is at fault in a behavioral situation, there's nothing to argue about and nothing gets in the way of productive dialogue. 2. Spend some time understanding why someone would disagree with your perspective. For example, maybe they've had a similar experience that led them to think differently. 3. Set aside preconceived notions before having a conversation so you can approach it mindfully and neutrally. Allow yourself to really listen to what someone has to say rather than just preparing what you'll say next. 9. Prioritize important tasks. If you have a list of tasks to complete, start with those that need to be completed immediately. These are your priorities, they're important and urgent. If you can complete them quickly, it will make it much easier to get other things done. Use tools like task management apps to prioritize your tasks by urgency, so you know what needs to be taken care of right away. Sometimes we focus on long-term goals or get distracted by extraneous details when we should instead work on what needs our attention most. To beat laziness and procrastination, set reminders in your calendar app or planner to give yourself a little nudge if you're falling behind schedule on something important. Use these reminders as a reminder to stay focused. Take breaks, try alternating between low-energy tasks and high-energy ones. This may seem counterproductive, but trust us, it works. When you switch from one type of task to another, it gives your brain time to clear out some space and remember how to work efficiently again, and sometimes even come up with new ideas. If possible, try to take short breaks every hour. You can use these as an opportunity for some exercise or even just getting outside for fresh air. Change environment. One reason we tend towards laziness is that a comfortable environment makes everything more tempting than going after our ambitions. 10. Change your environment if necessary. We all live in different environments, which can make or break our productivity. If you feel like your environment is getting in your way of being productive, then take action. For example, if you're a student whose studying habits are negatively affected by your dorm room setting, then perhaps it's time to talk to campus housing officials about moving into a new apartment with more space. Or if you have an important project that is being derailed by temptations from social media sites like Facebook or Twitter, maybe it's time to temporarily unplug from those sites. When nothing else works, consider whether the environmental change may be necessary. In conclusion, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more informative content daily. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to ask in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to share. Thanks for watching.